Hola y bienvenidos a Monterrey Rock, soy Carmen y les traigo hoy un video muy especial. Tuvimos el absoluto honor de entrevistar a Dave Mustaine con motivo de su próxima visita a nuestro país. Megadeth estará visitando tierras mexicanas en abril, el 25 de abril en la Arena Ciudad de México y el 27 de abril en nuestra ciudad, en la Arena Monterrey, regresando a Monterrey después de 8 años tras su participación en el México Metal Fest en 2016 y trayéndonos por fin un show en solitario tras una década de espera. Pero, ¿cómo se siente Dave al respecto y qué podemos esperar de este show? Él nos lo cuenta aquí.
I'll make that up. I will play especially good for Monterrey this time. You know, we have new songs, new album that came out. People are really excited about this tour. We're doing some fun stuff where we get to meet the fans before the concert with our fan club, and we also get to meet the fans after for the fans that want to meet with us. And we're also doing this thing, Megadeth Digital, where we have an NFT token, and the fans that are holding these NFT tokens get some really cool features with the shows coming up down in Monterrey. So those of you that have your NFTs, be sure and look up all of the features on that before we come there, because you don't want to miss out on anything.
Cuando le preguntamos a Dave su recuerdo favorito de Monterrey, nos compartió una historia muy especial sobre Judas Priest. Recordemos que Megadeth fueron los encargados de abrir sus shows en México durante el Juggalator World Tour en 1998.
The memory for Monterrey was when we played down there with Judas Priest, and that one I think was maybe 16 years ago. We had gone down there, and Judas Priest was supposed to be closing the show, and you know, I didn't care. I liked Judas Priest at the time. We were an opener for them, and then we were getting ready to go on stage, and their band, Judas Priest, came and knocked on our door and asked if we could talk to them, and I said sure. And they came in and they said, you know, this is your audience, and you're bigger than we are, and we want to ask you to close the show. And I was floored. I had never expected Judas Priest to walk into my dressing room and say, you're bigger than we are, will you please play after us? It was quite a feeling, and I'll never forget the humility that Judas Priest showed. I mean, what professionals. I love those guys.
¿Y cuál es su cosa favorita sobre los públicos latinos? Dave nos dejó muy en claro que lleva a Latinoamérica siempre muy cerca de su corazón.
Carmen, I kind of feel like the concert's more for me than it is for you guys, because the fans are singing to me, and they're
Yeah.
showing me how much they love us, and I gotta tell you, sometimes I walk away from these concerts with the Latino audience, and I just am so touched that I feel so emotional. I have tears in my eyes.
Después de numerosas giras mundiales, a través de los años, estar fuera de casa nunca es cosa fácil. Sin embargo, Dave sabe que al final del día, estos sacrificios tienen una recompensa.
The thing I hate the most about touring is being away from my home, and the things that I love here at home. And the thing that I love the most is there's a second that if say you and me were standing right next to each other, and I snuck you out on stage, and you're right next to me, right?
Yeah.
That feeling when I walk out there and the audience explodes, I would love for you to know what that feels like. Because I know you've been probably in front of an audience in a venue that you're working, or maybe you've gone to a concert yourself and done that, but to be the guy in front of 20,000, 30,000, more than that, and to experience all those people screaming at the top of their lungs, it's quite inebriating. And then at the very end of the show, when you're saying goodbye to everyone and you've got them in the palm of your hands, and all you're waiting for is to say the biggest I love you, and the biggest thank you you can possibly ever do. And that's it, man. The show's over. Everybody's had an orgasm, and it's time to go to sleep.
Yeah, it's so rewarding to receive that love from the fans.
Yes, it is. It's great, especially when you deliver the goods. I mean, if you don't deliver the goods and you leave the fans disappointed, then maybe it's time to think of another profession.
El 16º álbum de estudio de Megadeth, The Sick, The Dying and The Dead, fue estrenado apenas en septiembre del 2022, convirtiéndose además en el álbum de la agrupación que más ha llegado lejos en las listas de popularidad alrededor del mundo. Y Dave no perdió la oportunidad de demostrar su orgullo por ello y su emoción por interpretar las canciones de este álbum por primera vez para el público regio.
Well, it's like I said, it's been very well received. It was successful for us. We have had some really high charting records before, but this was the highest charting record of all. And when it comes down to around the world, you know, in the past we'd have a record that was good one place, but it wasn't good everywhere. And this record has been really good in a lot of places. Now, there's been a couple places where they just don't like metal, but you know, for the most part, I've been very, 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 very happy with the outcome of this record.
Y claro que 40 años de carrera no solo traen consigo interminables logros y anécdotas, sino también valiosos aprendizajes y reflexiones. Megadeth, a pesar del paso de los años, se conserva como una de las bandas de metal más importantes y queridas. ¿Cuál considera Dave que es la clave para ello? Time passes, trends change, and the music industry changes itself, yet Megadeth remains one of the most popular and influential bands, attracting new fans every day. What would you say is the secret to achieving this?
I think it's not compromising and sticking to your convictions, being true to yourself, and just not being a mean asshole. You know, there's a lot of musicians who get successful and they start to believe their own hype that they're really cool, and you know what? We're all the same. It's the end of story. Period. When I hear stories out on the road, like when I was younger, I heard about some bands where this woman singer would make everyone call her Miss something, and you couldn't look at her.
Okay.
I know Madonna did that, but this was somebody else before that. And I thought, wow, I don't like her anymore. And it wasn't that I liked her in the first place, but I just thought, what kind of an asshole does that? You know, don't look at me. All right, don't look at this. Fuck you. You know, when you start thinking you're better than other people, you might be better at something than other people, but you know what, man, we're all the same. We gotta stop treating people like other people don't matter, you know.
Una banda no podría mantenerse tantas décadas en la cima si no fuera por su dedicada base de fans. Dave sabe la importancia de la conexión con sus fanáticos y se asegura que ese cariño sea siempre igual de genuino y recíproco.
When you treat your fans like they're friends, you get a really great opportunity to learn stuff about yourself, learn stuff about your audience, learn stuff about your program. And that's what I did when I was doing my radio show. I listened. And I think I know my fans better than a lot of people that have shows like that. You know, you hear the DJs talking and, oh yeah, we're family, blah, 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 blah. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
I don't know how true that is. A lot of these people throw those words around.
Dave Mustaine es considerado uno de los guitarristas de metal más importantes de la historia. Es sin duda una leyenda andante. Por ende, existen diversas generaciones de fanáticos alrededor de todo el mundo que lo admiran. Pero, ¿cómo toma Dave esta responsabilidad? ¿Y cuál es el mejor consejo que podría darle a cualquiera que sueñe con seguir sus pasos algún día? And speaking of knowing your fans, Dave, you are regarded as one of the greatest metal guitarists of all time. You're a guitar hero. I think any kid who's starting a career on guitar, when you ask them about their influences, they mention you. Like, it's happened to all of my friends who play guitar. When I had my band, my guitarists look up to you so much. You keep inspiring new generations. How do you take this responsibility, and what advice would you give to young guitarists?
How do I take the responsibility? I think it's really great, and go out and buy every single one of my albums twice. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Well, I think what's important is be honest with yourself, and don't try to be the best guitar player in the world right now. There are millions of guitar players in the world, and every day, if you just get 1% better, in 100 days from now, you'll be 100% better. And pretty soon you'll start watching other guitar players fall by the side of the road. As you get better, you'll also get much more humble because like those professional basketball players used to say, at the end of the day, I know I'm better than you are. I don't have to finger wag or chest bump. I don't have to talk shit about anybody because at the end of the day, I know I'm better than you. And I'm not saying that myself right now. I'm talking about young guitar players that are starting to get good. And that's a thing I really like too, is watching bands develop. Because they have their whole life to write their first record. What are they going to do for their second record? The secret will be revealed at our concert.
Really?
No.
El camino no ha sido nada fácil y Dave está muy consciente de las altas y bajas para poder llegar hacia donde se encuentra hoy en día. El mayor aprendizaje que ha tenido a lo largo de su vida es simple: tratar a los otros como te gustaría ser tratado.
There's a lot of people that they stick together, and they somebody ends up dying. Unfortunately, we had some of that toxicity in Megadeth in the beginning, and a lot of bands do. They have one guy in there that just is a little bit too far over the edge, and it causes bad behavior in other people. So I was that guy one time, not anymore.
What can you say that has been like the biggest lesson of over 40 years of career?
I probably the biggest lesson I've ever learned is to treat people the way you want to be treated, and that goes back to the Sermon on the Mount. If you're nice to people, you don't ever have to go back and say you're sorry. And the good thing about that is some people, when you have to go say you're sorry to them, some people, when you have to go say I'm sorry, they will make you pay.
Yeah.
So I would rather not have to go up to the man that I owe an apology to that's going to make me crawl don't be bad in the first place. Don't be treating people wrong in the first place. Don't be thinking you're better than people in the first place. Help people out,
Y después de que le diera a todos sus admiradores su mejor consejo sobre cómo ser un mejor guitarrista, llegó la hora de también platicar con Dave sobre sus influencias y artistas favoritos. Él nos cuenta cuál sería el álbum que se llevaría a una isla desierta. Speaking of looking up to people, we all have a favorite record. Which one would you say is the one record that changed your life? Let's say that you're stranded on a deserted island. What record would you take with you?
Well, the White Record by the Beatles has always been really a good one. So was Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here, because it's a little bit diverse. Alan Parsons' Tales of Mystery and Imagination is a good record. UFO's Strangers in the Night's great. Probably take a classic for good measure, like Folsom County Blues from Johnny Cash, maybe something from Frank Sinatra, and then, of course, Never Mind the Bollocks.
Esperamos les haya gustado esta entrevista. Recuerden que tendremos a Megadeth en nuestro país en abril y estaremos con emoción esperándolos el 27 de ese mismo mes en la Arena Monterrey para celebrar The Sick, The Dying and The Dead en vivo y las 4 décadas de trayectoria de la agrupación. Pero no nos despedimos sin antes un mensaje del mismísimo Dave Mustaine para ustedes. Yo soy Carmen y quédense en Monterrey Rock para más contenido similar. ¡Chao! We can't wait to see you. Any message for the fans that are waiting over here in Mexico for you?
Yes, it will not be long. We are coming. We love you, and we'll be there as soon as we can. I think you're all going to be excited to see the new songs we're going to be adding to our set. I think we're going to change our opening song that we start our concerts with. That will be something new that we haven't made a change with for many years. I think it could be 2 decades since we had a different opening song. So we're excited about this. You've got, when you have a song that's going to replace your opening song, it's got to be good. And so we've been wrestling with this idea to change, and it's time for us to make the change. It's been great talking to you, Carmen. I
Thank you
love
so
you,
much.
you little rock star.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. It's been an honor.
Yes, you too. You too. Igualmente. Ciao.